There are mornings when the weight doesn't come from the outside. No bad news, no loud arguments, just the heaviness inside. A soul that's tired, even after sleep. Maybe you know that feeling. The quiet struggle. You open your eyes, but your heart doesn't. You sit up, but something inside stays lying down. And here's the strange part. No one sees it. On the outside, everything looks fine. You eat, you smile, you say, "I'm okay." But deep inside, your soul is whispering, "I'm not okay." We often think faith means always feeling strong. But what if faith also means being honest about weakness? What if praising God doesn't always come with loud music, lifted hands, and perfect peace? What if it starts with a whisper, a sigh, a single thought that says, "I don't feel it today, but I still believe"? The heart is a battlefield, not with others, but with ourselves. Sometimes it's not the devil attacking you, it's your own thoughts. Doubts that come like waves. If God is good, why am I here? If He hears me, why is it so quiet? If He cares, why do I still feel broken? And the soul, fragile and honest, begins to hide. But here's a truth we forget. You can know God and still feel lost sometimes. You can love Him and still walk through dark valleys. Even David, the man after God's heart, had to speak to his own soul. He didn't say, "Feel happy." He said, "Soul, bless the Lord." Not because it was easy, not because he was strong, but because he remembered something his emotions had forgotten. God is still who He says He is. Feelings change, circumstances shift, but the nature of God, it remains. So today, maybe you're not ready to sing. Maybe you're not even sure you want to pray. That's okay. There's no shame in starting small. Start with the breath in your lungs. Start with the truth that you woke up today. Start with the memory of one time, just one, when He met you in your pain. Hold on to that. Speak it out loud if you have to. Tell your soul what your heart has forgotten. He hasn't left. You are not alone. This is not a performance. This isn't about perfect words or spiritual posture. This is a fight to remind yourself of what's real. Because in the middle of confusion, one thing is still true. God is worthy, even now. And maybe that's what your soul needs most. Not a reason to dance, but permission to be still and remember. So if you find yourself in the middle of that inner battle, you're not failing, you're not faithless, you're just human. But you are seen, you are heard, and you are still invited to lift your eyes, not because everything is fixed, but because He never changed. And even now, especially now, He's listening. Some moments don't need to be loud to be powerful. Sometimes the most meaningful memories whisper. They don't come with fireworks or applause. They arrive quietly, unexpectedly, reminding you of what once was. There was a time, maybe long ago, maybe just yesterday, when you felt God's nearness. Not because everything was perfect, but because something inside you felt held, seen, known. Do you remember? Not the big miracles, not the grand answers, but the small things. That night you couldn't sleep and suddenly felt peace. That day you cried alone and somehow found strength to stand. That whisper in your heart that said, "You're not forgotten. These are not accidents, these are not imagination. They are echoes of a God who walks close, even when He's silent." But pain has a way of blurring the past. Struggle clouds your vision. You start to wonder if it was real or just emotion. You ask, was it really you, God, or was I just hopeful? When the storms come, it's easy to forget the sunlight, but that doesn't mean the sun disappeared. It's still there, behind the clouds, waiting, and so is He. God is not a moment you once had, He's a presence that never left. Even when your feelings changed, even when your faith shook, He stayed. There's a verse tucked in a worn Bible that you might have underlined once. It spoke to you, it made you cry, but lately the pages feel distant, dusty, unopened. Still, the Word didn't forget you. You may have closed the book, but the author hasn't closed your story. Look back. Not to get stuck, but to remember. Think of the times when you should have broken but didn't. Moments when you lost direction, yet somehow found your way. People who walked away, yet love still found you. All of that is grace. Unseen, maybe. Unrecognized, often, but real. Even if your current season is cold, even if your prayers feel dry, you are not walking without evidence. You carry proof written in quiet chapters of your life, proof that He has shown up before, and He will again. The soul needs reminders, not just commands to believe, but reasons to trust again. So let the memories speak. Let them rise above the noise. They don't have to be dramatic, just true. Maybe there was a hospital room, maybe a phone call, maybe a morning when you wanted to give up and didn't. Maybe you can't explain it, but deep down, you know, that moment wasn't yours alone. There was someone else in the room, someone who didn't fix everything, but gave you enough peace to breathe again. That's the kind of presence we forget when life gets loud, but it never stopped being real. So today, don't chase a new miracle. Don't wait for a perfect sign. Just pause. And remember, you've already lived moments where God showed up. He wasn't late, He wasn't loud, but He was there. And if He was faithful then, what makes you think He won't be now? There comes a moment when you have to decide, is God only worthy when life is good? It's easy to lift your voice when the doors open, when healing comes, when the prayer is answered. But what about when the silence stays, when the mountain doesn't move, when the tears outnumber the words? Is He still worthy then? This is where faith isn't proven by words, but by posture. Not by feelings, but by surrender. Not by what we receive, but by what we choose to give. Some of the deepest worship doesn't come from a stage. It comes from a floor soaked in quiet cries, from hands that rise while hearts still ache, from lips that whisper praise even when they don't understand. Worship is not a reward for the good days. It's a declaration in the middle of uncertainty. You are still God. I still trust you. That's what makes it pure. That's what makes it real. Even if your voice shakes. Even if your heart is unsure. Even if you feel like you're praising through broken pieces. He sees that, and He honors it. He's not looking for performance. He's looking for truth. A heart that still says yes, even when the blessing hasn't arrived. Think about it. If your love for Him depends on results, is it really love, or is it just transaction? God is not a machine we feed with prayer to receive what we want. He is the creator of your breath, the author of your purpose, the steady hand holding you even now. And even if nothing changes today, even if the situation remains the same, he hasn't lost his worth. You may be in the valley, but valleys don't erase his goodness. Pain doesn't cancel his promises, and silence doesn't mean absence. Sometimes choosing to worship is the strongest thing you can do, not because you feel strong, but because you're leaning on the one who is. Lift your eyes. Not because the weight is gone, but because his presence is near. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned in this moment. Every quiet praise, every silent thank you, every tear offered with faith, he receives them all. This is where the soul finds freedom. Not when everything makes sense, but when you choose to say, even without the answer, I will still adore you. This kind of devotion doesn't make headlines, but it echoes in heaven. So today, don't wait for everything to feel perfect. Don't hold back until the storm passes. Offer him what you have, even if it's small, even if it's tired, even if it's filled with questions. He deserves it. Not because your world is in order, but because he is still who he says he is. Always. There's a kind of prayer that doesn't follow a script. It doesn't wait for the right mood or perfect words. It doesn't need music, a crowd, or a holy place. It's raw. It's vulnerable. It's real. It starts where you are, in the middle of your mess, in the middle of your questions. Right there, God listens. You don't have to clean your heart first. You don't need to fix yourself before coming close. He already sees it all and still stays near. So pray, not because everything makes sense, but because your soul needs to breathe. Speak to him like you would to someone who truly understands, because he does. He knows the disappointments you hide, the pain you don't speak out loud. The regrets you keep buried under forced smiles. He knows, and still he waits, not with judgment, but with open arms. There's no pressure to impress him, no need to pretend you're strong. Just be honest. Say what's in your heart. Maybe it's confusion. Why is this happening, God? Maybe it's desperation. I can't do this anymore. Maybe it's a whisper of hope. Please don't let go of me. Or maybe it's just silence. And that's okay too, because he hears even what you can't say. You don't have to know how to start. Just start. Even if it's, God, I don't know what to pray. He meets you there, not with demands, but with peace. And something happens when we speak to him honestly. The weight doesn't always disappear, but it becomes lighter, not because the situation changed, but because you remembered who's walking with you. That's the power of true prayer. It's not magic, it's connection, it's communion. It's a moment when heaven bends toward earth and your voice matters, even if it's shaky. So today, offer him your whole heart, not just the polished parts. Give him the fear, the sadness, the dreams still waiting, the thoughts you don't say out loud. Lay them all at his feet, and if all you can say is thank you, then say it. If all you can do is cry, he counts every tear. If all you have is a whisper of faith, he considers it enough. You are not too broken, not too far, not too late. There's no need to perform. This is not an audition, this is home. You're not talking to a stranger, you're talking to the one who's always been there. So speak. Say the things you've been afraid to say. Confess the burdens you've carried alone. Tell him you're tired. Tell him you want to believe again. Tell him you miss the closeness you once had. And then wait, not for a miracle, not for fireworks, but for the stillness that says, I'm here, I've never left. That's prayer. The kind that reaches past noise, the kind that transforms the heart, the kind that reminds you you're not forgotten.